Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Pharus Global Live at 5. This is Brian Hartman. We have been off the air for a couple of weeks, so it feels good to be back. Hope everybody is geared up and ready for a very exciting 4th of July weekend coming up and looking forward to a long weekend. So the good news is we're at the beginning of the week and there still might be some people in town. So today we are very excited to have with us on the show Cricket McMillin of Paralegal Temps. And this is episode number 29. We're going to be talking about paralegal or attorney. Which one? Which one do you think is better? So I'm excited to learn more about that. We are located here at Pharus Global Plaza at 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. And feel free to drop in and say hello. We have some coffee, sometimes donuts, and maybe an occasional cookie every now and then. Definitely have some room to chat, and we're happy to do so. At Pharus Global, we help businesses from the cradle all the way to the exit and everything in between. You can find more about us at pharusglobal.com. And with that said, we are going to be bringing on Cricket McMillin, who's the founder and owner of Paralegal Temps, located in Vero Beach, Florida. Cricket's first couple of jobs were working for attorneys. Go figure. After her divorce, she started selling real estate so she could have flexible hours and be home for her daughter. She sold real estate for 13 years, and then she opened up a mortgage company so that she could actually have control over getting people their mortgages. She did investor financing and seller-held mortgages for those that couldn't get traditional loans as well. When her mortgage company went under after 23 years in 2008, everybody remembers that year, she knew she had to reinvent herself. So she took a part-time job and went back to college to get her degree in paralegal studies. And we talked about that briefly before the show, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And ever since then, Cricket's been helping people locally and in other states for 11 years. Cricket loves helping people that cannot afford an attorney, and she helps people that no one else wants to deal with, unfortunately. Or fortunately, in her case. Attorneys don't want to do a document and then the client goes away. They want the cases that go on because those are the cases that keep making money. She helped a 17-year-old girl get emancipated. The girl told Cricket that she had gone to 8 different attorneys and none of them would take the case. Cricket loves a good challenge and she was able to get it done for her. She once got a call from a friend who works at the courthouse. He told her he had an elderly woman in his office who wanted to add her son onto her deed. Pretty simple and straightforward. But she had called an attorney and he told her he was too busy to see her and that it would be at least 10 days and she should bring $3,500. Yes, you heard that right, $3,500. He asked if he should send her over to Cricket, and she said absolutely. In 15 minutes and just $75 later instead of $3,500, this woman danced out of Cricket's office with her new deed in hand. And that's why Cricket doesn't need to advertise. And with that said, let's have a warm welcome for Cricket McMillin. Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
We are doing awesome. How are you, Cricket?
I'm great, thank you.
We are very excited to have you here with us today and appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. And it's great to be able to see you again. It's been a long time. It's nice to be able to see people in person too on occasion. So I guess things are starting to get back to normal. How are things going for you in Vero?
I'm so busy, it's scary.
That's awesome. That's a good problem to have.
It is.
Before we continue, just so everybody is aware, for those of you watching us, you can drop in any questions you have for Cricket as we go into the comment section, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, and we'll make sure to answer those questions as best as possible. With Cricket's expertise, I have no doubt she'll be able to answer those. And even if you just want to say hi, just drop that in the comments, and we're happy to say hello back. So, Cricket, I know we talked about it briefly, but tell us a little bit about what is the school program for paralegal studies, and what does that time frame look like?
Well, in my case, I went back to college, and it was 2 years. It was 5 days a week, and there were really no holidays except for like December 31st. We got off on January 1st, and then I think Christmas and Thanksgiving we got a day off. Other than that, it was a grueling 2 years, but I've always loved to learn, and I really enjoyed it. Now, there's also other ways to do this, at least one other way that I know of, and I don't know who you call or who you contact because I didn't go that route, but you can actually get certified. I guess there's some classes that you can take online or something like that.
It sounds like your way was a little bit much more detailed, I guess, and probably a better way to do it instead of what people like to say fly-by-nights with certifications, right?
I don't know because I didn't go that route, so I really don't know what they learned, but it was intensive. And the thing that was really good, because when you go to school, you learn to do research and you learn a lot of the paper, the way things work, but you don't actually learn the paperwork. But I had been an attorney's legal secretary for a few years, and so I already knew how to do the paperwork, which really helped.
Interesting. Interesting. So I love the stories that you have in your bio. $3,500 all the way down to $75 and 15 minutes instead of a 10-day wait.
Yep.
I bet you that got you fired up to be doing what you're doing, right?
Well, you know what? I don't ever have to advertise because I always do a good job. And if anything needs to be redone or another page, because since the pandemic, and then they open back up and they have all new people at the courthouse, and I don't know where some of these people come from, and I don't know where some of these forms come from that they dug up. But every now and then somebody will call me and say, you know what? They said I need this. I said, no problem. I find it and I do it, and I do it for free. And everybody is happy. I mean, it's my job to make things right for people.
Sure. Absolutely. So, with those stories in mind, knowing that the cost of what you do for folks is so much less potentially than what the attorneys are doing, why don't more people use paralegals?
Well, I guess we're probably the best kept secret there is. I think one of the first things is that people don't know about us. If you walk on the street and you stop anybody and you say, do you know what a paralegal does? Most of them don't have a clue.
Right.
I used to say our time is coming, and now I say our time is now. And what we do and how we help them, we just need to get the word out more. And there's not very many of us. I mean, in Vero Beach, there was one other company, and I've had people tell me that they don't even answer their phone anymore. So I don't know what's going on. And so I guess I'm like the only person in town to do this.
I guess that's a good thing. But the good news is that you can do this nationally, correct?
Yes, I can. I have, in the very beginning, I was working with someone in California, and all he did was the advertising, and he would send me the deals. And people in California are a little bit sketchy. So I never even really knew his real name after working with him for 3 years. I didn't expect that. It got slower and slower to get paid, and I couldn't find him to sue him. But in the meantime, I learned that I could go all over the country and do these things. If you have a good paralegal, they know how to go to the websites, get the proper forms, and do the work. So it really doesn't matter where you are.
And I would imagine that you definitely know how to train some of these folks to be able to do it the way that you like to have it done.
Well, that's right, because I am a take charge person. So I try to train people my way. I always said if I could clone myself, that would be awesome, but I haven't figured that part out yet. So I'll just stick to helping people. There's so many different things that are involved, and a lot of those things go back to what I used to do in the past that merge with some of the things that I do now. And so, when someone takes a call and someone has a complex situation, I have to make sure that they understand that whatever it is, we have the ability to do it and not turn them away.
Right.
And I never take money from anybody until I know I can take care of them.
That's an awesome statement right there. So I would think that you probably keep adding on, or over the years have kept adding on other additional services as you learn for things that you can do for folks, right?
We have so many services, I literally had to write them down because I couldn't remember them all.
That's
But yeah, we
unbelievable.
can do everything. Everything, we start out with everything in family court and civil court. And all of those documents are the exact same documents that come out of any attorney's office, but at a fraction of the cost. For somebody who the attorney wants to charge $5,000 for a divorce, I do it for $500. And it's the exact same paperwork, and probably better, because when I write a motion, there's a form for a motion. I don't use that because everybody's different. Everybody has different circumstances. So I write my own motions. And people come to me and they say, excuse me, that were there before and I took notes and so forth. And then I call them, I said, the paperwork is ready, come in. And they come in and they read it and they said, I don't even remember telling you that. I said, I hear everything. And I take notes.
That's awesome. So I know we talked about, obviously price is one major difference between using you as a paralegal versus attorneys, but what are some of the other major differences?
Well, I'm kind of a chameleon. I listen to people and I can kind of fit into where they are and what they're about. And the most important thing is that I listen to people. I don't try to spout, here's what I can do. I listen to what they need.
Right.
And that's really important. People like to be heard.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Just as a reminder to everybody watching us tonight on the show, if you have any questions for Cricket, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If you just want to say hello, that's fine too. We will get to them as they come in. So I love the fact that you basically have the ability to spend more time with your clients than the typical attorney may as well, and that allows you to be a little bit more personable, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I know that attorneys charge by the hour, and I do free consultation. I mean, I've had people in my office for 3 hours.
A free consultation?
Yes.
Wow.
We only charge for the work that we do, and those prices are very reasonable. And the reason is that it's possible that after they really explain everything to me, that maybe we can't help them. And I'm certainly not going to charge them anything if I can't help them.
Right. That makes sense. It makes sense, but in most cases, it doesn't work that way with others that are doing this kind of work.
That's right.
That's a huge advantage for folks out there.
Mm-hmm. Many times people will come in and they'll just want to ask some questions or get some clarification on something. And when they're done, they go, how much do I owe you? And I go, nothing. And they go, what? I said, nothing. I said, I only charge when I can help people. Well, you've helped me. No, I haven't done any work for you yet. So they're astonished as well. But I like that because they go, oh, you're such an angel. Oh, you're so good. All this other stuff. And that's advertising. I give them 3 or 4 cards as they're walking out the door, and they go, "Oh yes, I'm going to tell people about you and how good you are and how helpful you are." So it works for me. I don't know if it works for other people, but it works for me.
That's awesome. So it's kind of an indirect advertising without advertising.
Yes, of course, I do drive around town, and I've got a big paralegal sign on the back of my car, but
Uh,
it's advertising there is.
that's very true. And it goes with you wherever you go.
And I've had people follow me home, which was really scary.
That could be scary. Yeah, absolutely. But it's a good thing you know a good paralegal, right?
Yes.
Um, awesome. And I guess, everybody is probably curious. I know I would like to know what would you say that I know there's a ton of different services that you provide, but if you had to maybe talk about your top five, what are we talking about?
Okay, well, the things that are in family court are divorces, custody, support, adoptions. We also do bankruptcies. We do wills and small claims, some estate work if it's under 75,000. We do landlord and tenant work. I do modifications and responses. We do quit claim deeds and ladybird deeds and prenup agreements for those that are still getting married. And we do alimony. We write contracts. I do demand letters. I can write business plans, and we can amend birth records and so much more. And I'm a notary, and I charge my clients nothing for the notary, and I make all the copies so they can walk out the door and go right to the courthouse.
Awesome.
Included.
That's great. Sean Williams from Marine Bank and Trust says, break a leg, Brian. Well, thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. Good seeing you. Thanks for watching us tonight. Marine Bank and Trust being from Vero Beach.
Yes.
A lot of good people over there. So you mentioned prenups and people still getting married. On the flip side, tell me, is there actually something known as an amicable divorce?
Well, on the whole, I have to say not really, because I think in 11 years I've only had one. Both parties came in. They had been separated for about a year. They had 2 little children. They had it all worked out. They had shared custody. They had all of it in writing, which was so nice, because most people come in, and even if they say, well, it's an amicable divorce, when we get to the money, it's not amicable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Money ruins everything.
Yep. It doesn't bring happiness, and it certainly doesn't settle a divorce in most cases.
And as far as people getting married, I have to tell you a quick thing. I have a grown grandson, and he and his girlfriend have been living together for many years. And he called me one day and he said, Grandma, guess what? You're going to be a great grandmother. And I said, that's wonderful. When's the wedding? And he said, oh, Grandma, you're so old fashioned.
Yeah, it really is happening less and less these days.
Yes, I think I'm going to have to take divorce out of my portfolio after a while.
So everybody, a lot of marriages don't end up in divorce, I would think, because they're worried about the cost of actually getting the divorce done, right?
Well, certainly. I mean, when attorneys tell you to bring in $5,000 or $15,000, I mean, how many people are walking around with that money that they can just fork over?
Right.
It's ridiculous. And I do everything for that same amount of money, whether you have children, if you have real property. We just work it out, and it's not that much time put into the paperwork.
Right.
Attorneys make it so complicated, and it's really not.
And you charge how much?
$500, $550, right in that area.
Did everybody get that out there? 5,000 or 15,000, 500 or $550. Unbelievable! What a difference. That's awesome. So, Cricket, I know you've been doing this 11 years with Paralegal Temps. What do
Yes.
you like most about being a paralegal?
I like excuse me a second. I like being able to help people. I always have. I feel good when I've helped someone out of their troubles. I've had people come in tears and they go out smiling and they say, "You have put my life in perspective. I feel like I'm back in control again." Because when you have a lot of problems and you're in the middle of it, you have no idea what side is up and what side is down anymore. And I take all of that information and I put it on my desk because that's where they dump it. And I straighten it out and I go, okay, we're going to do this first, then we're going to tackle that. And it's all doable.
It's great. So, in retrospect, did it assist you because you did real estate and mortgages in the past to be able to grow your paralegal business?
Yes, because a lot of times there's a crossover. If people come in and they're getting a divorce and they decide they want to sell the house or who's going to get the house, sometimes they're behind in their mortgage because, well, he used to pay the mortgage and he moved out and he's not paying it anymore and I don't have any money. Well, because I was in the mortgage company, I was the processor and the underwriter, so I know how to save people's homes from foreclosure.
Hmm.
So sometimes I have to do that as well as get the divorce. And there's a lot of other things. I mean, I sold real estate for a long time, and people come in with different kinds of things, and we look up what the value is and what they want to do with it. One lady came in and she said, "He's not paying my alimony anymore. What am I going to do? I can't live on my Social Security." And I said, "Is your house paid for?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Let's do, um, yes, I forgot the word.
Refi.
Mortgage." Thank you. Yeah, I said, do a reverse mortgage. And she said, "Oh, tell me about that. Do they end up owning your home?" I said, "Absolutely not. People don't understand how some of these things work."
Right.
Most attorneys, they're not interested in educating you. I feel that my business, if you've ever seen something on the television, it says it has an E and a slash and an I, and that stands for educational and informational. And I've even written a book about paralegal services and what we do and how we do it, and it's all educational and informational.
Mm.
And I'm going to say right here that if anybody wants a copy of the book, it's like short paragraphs, about 42 pages or so. I have it in my computer, and if you would like a copy, there's my email on the screen. Let me know, and I will forward the copy of my book to you. I didn't write the book to make money. I wrote the book so people could understand what we do, how we do it, and how we can help them. And then, of course, when I do a good job, I get referrals.
Now that's awesome, and that helps create the awareness that most people don't have out there in the community, right?
Very few people really understand what a paralegal does. And it's a shame, but it is our time because people cannot afford what attorneys are charging these days. And the attorney doesn't do the work anyway. His paralegal does it.
Right.
So I've just intervened. They're not happy with me, the attorneys, but oh well.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're eliminating the middleman.
Exactly.
That's great. So getting the word out there is most important, and I would imagine that finding good help is not so easy these days either, right? With what's going on in this world.
Well, there's a lot of paralegals out there, and I've hired paralegals all the way from California to Washington State to I had one in Arizona, I had one in Louisiana. And Louisiana is an interesting state because they have parishes and not counties. So you have to have somebody who knows how to do that. So I hired somebody in Louisiana to do that.
Hmm.
And I've hired them from all over the country. And they tell me, "Oh, yes, I do this and I do that." And then when I give them a file, I find out not so much. So I probably fired most of it at one point or another. And there's so many out there that I just keep hiring until I get good ones. And then when I get good ones, they stick with me. The girl that does my bankruptcies, she lives in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and she has been with me for all 11 years. She's awesome. She gets the paperwork from me done and quickly. And I had a client call me today to ask me a question. I said, you know what? You need to call Melinda because she has the answer to that. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'll call her right now. So she's just awesome and she knows what to do. And we help so many people.
That's great. And so paralegals themselves can have specialties within what they do.
Yes, they do. I like to do the family and civil work. I don't touch the criminal stuff because I got enough crazies coming through. Not criminals. And I work out of an office on the side of my house, so they know where I live. So I try to keep it limited to, people I know aren't going to kill me when they come in.
That's probably a good thing. So for everybody that's listening out there that are paralegals, there are some specialties, and Paralegal Temps is looking for you, right?
Sure.
So everybody can reach Cricket McMillin. Her contact information is at the bottom of the screen. It's Paralegal Temps at att.net, 772-978-0305. So one last question before we go, Cricket. Why do clients keep coming back over and over and send you so many referrals?
Probably because I do a good job. We guarantee the work. So if anything is not right, they call me and they say something isn't right. And I say, if you need a form or something, ask the clerk what it is that you need, and I will find it and I will fix it. And there's no extra charge for that. I listen to them. And that's a big thing. So many people don't feel that they're being listened to. And I'd rather listen than talk because I know I can do a better job that way. I have clients that have come back to me over and over again in 11 years for different things. And when they leave, I say, oh, let me give you some cards. They go, I don't need a card. You're in my phone.
That's awesome.
That's a great compliment. I have one family that I have done 5 different people in their families. It was a big family. So when the last one left, I gave her a bunch of cards. I said, I'm sure you have more family.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just, I do a good job. I care about what happens to them. And I tell them all the time, let me know what happens. Let me know after you've gone to court. Let me know what the outcome is. I don't think you've ever heard an attorney tell you, call me, let me know how that worked out.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, that's great. It's much more personal and relationship driven that way.
Yes.
So one thing that we didn't really touch on that I think is going to become more prevalent by the end of July. Let's talk about just briefly the moratorium. When the Band-Aid gets ripped off, what's going to be happening?
There's going to be an epidemic of people losing their homes. People have gotten used to the fact that I don't have to make a payment. Gee, it's been 3 months since we've made a payment. People, I hope you've been saving that money.
Right.
Because yes, they're probably going to put it on the end of your loan, but they might not. And they also might increase your mortgage payment to the point where you can't make it anymore.
Right.
The best thing to do is to call me right away, because with the experience I have as a mortgage broker, I will, if there's a couple of things some criteria that has to be met. But if it's met, then they can save your house. You have to have income. I didn't say a job. I said income. And you have to have decent credit.
Okay.
Those 2 things, I can save your home, and they turn it around, and it'll be a payment that you can afford. And
very important.
Keep going.
Awesome. So yeah, I think that's going to be coming. It was supposed to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now our administration has extended that to July 31st. So we'll see if the Band-Aid gets ripped off then or not. But please be aware of it and know that Cricket can help with loan modifications and has a slew of contacts. If that shouldn't work out, there's other things that can be done. So anything else at this point, Cricket, that we may not have touched on that you wanted to talk about?
Just that if there's any real estate agents listening, if you have a listing and it suddenly is headed for foreclosure, send your client to me right away, because as soon as I send the paperwork into the lender, it halts the foreclosure process. And then you have more time to sell that listing.
I think that's a very important thing for everybody to know and be aware of. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I think, are putting their head in the sand and not paying attention to the fact that it's coming, and it is going to happen, unfortunately. So,
yeah, that ostrich syndrome doesn't work.
Yep. Probably not as bad as 2008, but we're going to have some lumps and bumps in the road for sure.
Absolutely. And that also works for landlord and tenants.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we help the landlord. But
well, and the landlord is going to need that help too, because rents are not going to get paid either in a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
So, very good. Well, if we covered everything else, once again, Cricket McMillin, you could reach her at Paralegal Temps at att.net, 772-978-0305. We are here live at 5, Pharus Global, every Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. Anybody that would like to appear on the show and be interviewed and tell us about your business, please feel free to reach out. You can find my contact information at pharusglobal.com. Cricket, thank you very much for joining us. And I enjoyed it, and I hope we can create more awareness for what you do out there.
Thank you, Brian. It was a pleasure being here.
Have a great night and enjoy your 4th of July, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.